Hey guys, Hello Bella here. In this video, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite things to do, which is journaling. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I am big on the journal. The journal helps me, and the journal is at times like a therapist to me. So I just want to go through 10 ways that you can journal better, that you can be more consistent with journaling, and basically 10 tips to help you journal. Tip number 1 is that you don't have to journal every single day. So I hear a lot of people say that they need to journal every day, and I don't really understand that because there's just not something to talk about every day. A lot of my days are the same, and a lot of days nothing really noteworthy happens. So for that reason, I don't think journaling every single day is really useful. I think this is one of the main reasons that people start a journal and then stop journaling, because they told themselves that they need to journal X amount of times, and then they don't meet their goal, and so they get discouraged and they quit journaling. So definitely realize that journaling is something that you should be able to come to whenever you want to, not something that you should be writing off a checklist every single day. Tip number 2 is to leave your journal somewhere that you will see it. For me, this spot is in my kitchen table area in my dining room. I leave it actually on this very table every single day so that when I wake up in the morning, I see it. So when you see something, you're going to be more likely to pick it up and I think use it. Tip number 3 is to develop a journaling routine. So for me, I usually do it in the mornings when my mind is clear and I haven't had a lot of things go on in the day. You might want to be the type of person who does it in the evenings to wind down and write down what happened during your day, or if you have time for it for an afternoon, you can pair it with your coffee. One thing that I think has helped me be consistent in journaling is I always have my journal and my coffee. So I sit down and I think about everything and I write. And so developing sort of a routine is the best way to make a consistent habit. Tip number 4 is that short journal entries on a consistent basis are better than no entries at all, and they're better than long entries. So just think about it like, if you can only write down, say you want to go to your journal and you just want to write down 10 things you're grateful for, or you just want to do a quick prompt that you found off Instagram, or you might even want to do like some kind of list that you need to make, or something that's making you anxious or weighing on you, or your Christmas list or whatever. Those are all really still useful journal entries, and they're better than writing these 2 or 3 page entries that you look back on later and you think, what was I even talking about? You know, writing for the sake of writing is not very useful. So I think just staying consistent and short and concise is good for me. I know a lot of people keep those bullet journals, and so that can be one way that you can do that, is to just write a little bit of note to yourself every single day, and then you can look back on your year and see the big picture of it. I think it's better to have short but consistent entries over these longer entries. Tip number 5 is to use prompts to help you along the way. You are going to get to the point where you don't know what to write about. That has happened for me many times, and sometimes it's easier than others to write, but for the most part, if I don't really know what to write about, but I know I need to write and I want to write, I will just go on Instagram or Pinterest or Google, and you can even type in like July 2020 journal prompts, or journal prompts for positive energy, journal prompts for growth, journal prompts for grief, journal prompts for anxiety, depression, whatever. So you get the point. You can kind of look and find something that is tailored to what you are looking to write about, and you might even be surprised. You might even dig deep that day that you didn't even intend to, because the prompts are really just questions that you're asking yourself. That's all a prompt is it's a question of, you know, what is this behavior that I'm exhibiting, and when did I start doing this, and why do I do this, and how do I think this is serving me, and can I do something else differently that is going to serve me differently? That's an example of one. So yeah, use prompts, and don't be ashamed to use prompts. Prompts are your friend. We all get in a rut sometimes, so prompts are definitely a way to avoid the journaling rut. Tip number 6 is to practice free writing. Free writing is pretty common. It's just a way to write down everything that is coming to your mind. A lot of people do this in the morning. They write out their anxieties. I know for me, writing down things that have been bothering me really, really helps. And especially seeing this on paper, you realize like, oh my gosh, it's not even that big of a deal, Bella. You're being a drama queen about this. Like, please calm down. But at the same time, these things are all valid in our head. So writing them out sometimes can just feel cathartic. So I really think that practicing free writing to write down things like lists of things you need to do, or things that you're worried about, or people, or boundaries, or anything like that. Just write free writing, and then you might even discover something about yourself that you didn't even really intend to. So I really am a big fan of free writing. Tip number 7 is to make lists. I am also a list maker to a fault. I have made lists in my journal of the places I've visited, the places I want to visit, foods I've tried while on vacation, bands I've seen, bands I want to see, people that I want to shop for holidays, birthdays, anything that just really gets your heart happy. You can make a list about it, and I think that's a great way to just get through an entry really quickly, is to just make yourself a little list. And it's fun to look back on my list, honestly. Like, I'm just a avid list maker. I make lists for every single thing in my life. I make a packing list before I go on vacation. I make a grocery list before I go to the store. I have a running list of things on my phone that I actually want to buy, so I should probably put that in my journal. But anyways, yeah, make a list. It's really fun. Tip number 8 is to jazz it up with stickers, washi tape, all of those cool journaling things that you've seen at Hobby Lobby or Walmart. I personally am a big fan of the stickers, obviously. I got these stickers off of AliExpress, and I just enjoy it. I have a whole page dedicated to Grey's Anatomy in the back of my journal. McSteamy in Arizona, and Callie and Derek and Bailey. So obviously I have a little bit of time on my hands to dedicate to stickers. And yeah, I think you should just make it a fun thing. I use stickers all the time in my journal, and I also use cutouts. Like when I did my 50-mile challenge, I actually just did this and then taped it into my journal. So this is something that I want to look back on. I put all of my habit trackers in my journal, so that kind of goes on with the whole sticker theme. But yeah, you can actually buy stickers that are specifically made for planners and journals. So I think that's a great way to get creative and have a little fun. I also use highlighters and different pens, and sometimes I even put my spreadsheets that I made in Excel in my journal, which is so nerdy, but I love to do it because it helps me look back on things in a more analytical way. Tip number 9 is find your own style and reason for journaling. Mental health, goal setting, recording your history, overcoming trauma, being a better version of yourself. These are all reasons that you can journal. And I wanted to read that one to you because I think that the intention that we journal is oftentimes some other reason that is outside of ourselves, and we come up with all these things that we need to do because someone told us to do it. So for me, journaling has never been about that. Journaling has literally been healing for me. It's been a process where I've been able to come to terms with feelings that I didn't even know existed inside of me. I've been journaling since 2013, and I've worked through so much trauma in my journal and with my therapist, but my therapist has even given me journal prompts because she knows that I am a journal nerd. So yeah, I just think that you should find your own reason for journaling. Don't make it about other people's reasons. Always do everything for your own reasons, and that's going to make it more likely for you to stick to this habit of journaling. Tip number 10 is to take your journal with you when you go on vacation. I take my journal on all my trips now because there are times when I've been on really good trips and long trips and I didn't have my journal with me, and I really regretted it because I wanted to remember the feeling that I was having during the travel, and I also wanted to remember the details of my experience. And once a feeling leaves you, you can't really get it back. So being able to journal while you are traveling is a good way to sort of get a different perspective of yourself. And you can also take your journal with you and go to a coffee shop or like go to a place by water or something. And I think that can also really trigger some different thoughts. Sometimes I take my journal with me to the river and I just sit by the river and journal or sketch out ideas or make plans. And I think that can also sort of be another therapeutic technique if you really are, you sort of want to get outside your environment for a little while and do something different. Okay, the last thing I want to say is, it's not a tip, okay? It's just a reminder to not be too hard on yourself because journaling is not for everybody, y'all. It's not. There is a lot of people who've told me, I hate journaling, it sucks, I dread it, and I'm like, why are you even doing it then? So don't worry too much about the details. Journaling is something that should be a way for you to have an outlet that's healthy and that is free and fun and creative and maybe even a little bit therapeutic. So I just wanted to share these tips with you because these are things that I've learned after 7 years of journaling that I think have made me better at journaling and more consistent. And I hope that you can get a lot out of this video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up and leave a comment below if you have tips for journaling or if you have a place that you like to journal outside of your home. I always am curious about where people take their journals. Sometimes I see people writing in coffee shops and I always wonder, like, is that their journal? I want to ask them about it, but I don't want to be weird. So anyways, hope you guys have a great week. I am doing pretty good, still sober, still riding out the waves of that. So I will catch you guys in the next video.